leave your house and let's go further than Mexico. Like, let's
Mhm.
try something
Wow, what a shock.
It's always
not.
Mexico. It's always fucking Mexico.
It's so great. It's so fun.
Options out here. Like, let's do that. It's like, what is that
Mm,
about? Like,
mm. I
Mexico
mean,
does have a chokehold on studs.
it's very fun.
Just want it to be known.
I don't know. This might be American perspective. We just have an affinity for Mexico.
This is Shana,
And Kris.
and we are bad queers. If you came out of the closet and got put in a box of stereotypes you don't belong to, then welcome to the Bad Queers Club.
All right. This week in Queer Urban Dictionary, I have Tinder queer. Tinder queer is typically a queer white hipster, you've seen him, who uses identity politics to avoid accountability. They usually center themselves and their feelings in social and political movements that aren't about them. My sentence is in typical Tinder queer form. They brought up the fact that they were a part of a marginalized community and therefore couldn't truly be an oppressor.
Mm.
You know him. You've seen him.
They said,
You
don't
heard
label
him.
me.
Yeah.
Don't label me. Except
Yeah.
that I am oppressed.
No.
Mm-mm-mm. My Queer Urban Dictionary word of the week is binding. Binding, also known as chest binding, is the flattening and hiding of breast/chest with constrictive materials such as cloth strips or purpose-built undergarments. Binders may also be used as alternatives to bras. My sentence is that people who bind include women, trans men, non-binary people, and cisgender men with gynecomastia, which I did Google. It's a bit of extra tissue in the chest
Oh,
area.
okay. Because I
So
was gonna
yeah, I
look it up
Googled.
after
I did the
this.
Google.
Thank you.
I went to
So well
my
rounded.
Dr. Google, and talked about the things. But basically, as we've been talking about, to end the year and to start the year, gender affirming care is for just about everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
remember that.
Always has been.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yes. Well, happy New Year. This is
Happy New Year.
the start of the new year.
Starting
We're
something.
we.
Is
It's not how
is
we're
this
doing
wait,
this.
wait. Is this it's shopping on J6? It would. Go ahead. Happy J6. I don't know. For all those who celebrate, I guess. However you fall. So
If you made it here and you fall in the opposite direction, don't know how you got here. Um,
oh. Listen,
welcome.
some people celebrated J6 to be like, I told y'all, white
The
people
fact that
crazy,
you gave it like a little
right?
J6
People
acronym,
crazy.
like it's supposed to be a boy
J6 is a
band.
thing. J6 is a thing. It's on
No.
memes,
If
it's
I
on
see
things.
shirts, I cannot.
There's absolutely shirts
Oh
probably
my
somewhere.
gosh. Wow.
Etsy, I would assume.
Don't do Etsy like that.
2025. Oh boy.
Well, starting off this year, we're bringing some friends back that we had earlier this year. We've got company. We welcome back Noiry and Neicy from Queer Queens Travel. Queer Queens Travel is an empowering travel collective exclusively for queer women of color. Established in 2019, QQT was born with the mission of providing a safe and supportive community for queer women of color to explore the world while igniting a passion for travel. Since 2020, they've hosted over 10 local and international group trips. I was like, that number has grown now from, I feel like, the last time. They've hosted so many.
Mm-hmm.
So, local and international group trips to various locations, including Atlanta Black Pride, Jamaica, Thailand, Colombia, and South Africa, to name a few. We're going to talk more about South Africa because I was there. QQT's mission is to create community, and this can be seen on all of their trips where they've watched bonds and lifelong friendships form.
All right, welcome back, Neicy and Noiry. Thank y'all for coming back. Top of the year, big travel, big plans. Happy to have y'all back on.
Hey, happy to be here.
So, for our listeners, can you each introduce yourself so that they'll know your different voices?
Okay, cool. I'm Neicy.
And I'm Noiry.
And as I said, y'all were on last year, had y'all on. We have so much to cover today. I do want to just start off by asking something urgent and like just top of mind. Like,
Yes.
What are y'all gonna do about Drake in
Oh my
2025? What are y'all gonna do? What?
I listened to your most recent episode and I'm like, they better not start with the foolishness. We don't
Had to. Had to.
You're not involved.
Just
Not about-
Big lookalike competition here in Toronto for
Out.
I saw that.
Stop.
Y'all are like hoops, like Drake hoops. Don't
Aubrey?
pass. Aubrey,
Is that you?
right? It's all right. We won't put that on y'all. We won't put that on y'all's jacket at all. That's
not too good.
him. Yeah. So, where in the world have you traveled in 2024? Before, obviously our last recording, you mentioned the trips you went on, but tell us where you went in 2024. Where did you end up, like number of trips wise?
How many? We did 4 trips in 2024.
Okay.
We did 4. Guatemala. Okay, hold on. Guatemala,
Barbados.
Barbados. Yes, Barbados. Summer
Escape.
Escape, and South Africa.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nori, do you have a favorite trip from 2024 or most memorable trip?
I would say that I'm gonna go with, South Africa, just because it's so recently, like we just came back, so I'm a little bit biased for that. But Barbados, because that was our first party trip, that was our first carnival with QQT, and it was also like my first time doing carnival in Barbados once, but just doing carnival in a long time. So I think that like it just like I was very excited to be there. I was very excited for the trip that we planned, and we had a time. So
I bet. I did see some pictures and videos, and it looked like y'all had a time. So I can see that being the most memorable one. That's awesome.
I was like, it was the before and after photos and videos for me that really did it for the Barbados trip. Like y'all ate that. So
yes,
12 out of 10 for y'all. And I feel like with the trips that you had, it was such a range because it was between the escape, a really long trip, going out and having like very much partying trips. You all are experiencing a range of personalities amongst all of these trips. So, with those personalities, how have you witnessed folks kind of like step outside of their comfort zones and really kind of like step outside of regular queer stereotypes and just were really trying to be themselves during your trips?
I feel like it's always so amazing to see people step outside their comfort zones. Because like, for example, the South Africa trip, I remember certain people coming and I'm like, oh, like they're super, super reserved. And then like by like that evening, I think by the time we went to the dinner, they were like cracking jokes, they're making the friends. And so it's always so nice to see people like get comfortable in the space, because we sometimes get to have those one-on-one conversations at the very beginning and they'll let us know like, I'm super nervous, but I came and like I'm excited, but like, this is how I am at home. I'm not really extroverted. And then we see this completely different personality on the trips, and like it's really amazing. And we obviously get like a range of folks who come, but overall I feel like the groups always come together.
yeah. I think. Sorry to toe in here, but I think it's really also important that like people come in with the expectation for the most part that like I'm coming to make friends. I'm coming to, step outside my comfort zone. I'm coming to be around people that like I don't know, and like how is that going to be? So I think that having that mindset as well of like coming in to like I'm going to be here for 5 days, 10 days, and I'm going to try something different. Like that's going to also set the mood for like everybody to maybe be more outgoing, be more talkative, be more open to meeting new people instead of being like, more reserved if they are normally more reserved. So yeah.
Money is money, and y'all are certainly pros at handling all types of travelers. But if you had the choice to avoid a certain type of traveler, what personality traits or habits would make them less ideal for your trip?
That's a good question.
Yeah. It's like, I know y'all accept it because, again, money is money. You want to go on the trip, come on. And y'all could totally handle it. But if you could avoid a habit or a personality trait, like, what would you avoid?
Someone that's very like shut off or closed off or not open to doing things outside of your way, then a group trip and a trip in general might be very hard for you. So I would say that like if you're someone that is not open to being like, all right, cool, we're gonna go look at penguins today, and you're just like, oh, we're going to penguins. Then, and if you're gonna be like that for everything, then
Yeah.
like this is not gonna be the trip for you. If you're someone who's gonna be like closed off to like, I don't want to meet nobody, I don't want to talk to nobody, I don't want to do nothing, I don't want, then like the resort going by yourself for the 5 days and doing nothing might be a better fit for you. But yeah.
Because if there's one thing, y'all's schedule is packed.
Mm.
That's what
We are going to be outside.
that for sure. Yeah, I feel like even just to add on to that, someone who just doesn't respect like different cultures, I feel like is really important.
Mhm.
Because when you're traveling, at the end of the day, you're not at home. What you can do at home, you cannot do here. And I just feel like if you're not open to trying new foods, or if you're not open to just like being in new different spaces, like we'll talk about our itinerary for South Africa, but like even with that itinerary, we were in certain spaces that if you were super like bougie, you wouldn't want to be. And
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be open to that as well.
Makes sense.
For sure. Before we get specifically to talk about the South Africa trip, again, looking at all of your trips, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the audience that you all have is very largely Canadian and very largely American. How would you describe the energy that Canadian travelers bring versus the energy that American travelers bring? Nori, I want you to answer this first. Just because you had the reaction that you did, I need you to answer this
Okay,
first. Thank you so much.
okay, so we will say that a majority of our group is actually American. But I will say that the Canadians that we have, just from if we're just going based off of our previous trips, they're very like Canadian Caribbean, like if we're being very honest. And so Canadian Caribbeans and African Americans are very different groups of people. Um,
I'm sorry. For the audio listeners, this hearty little like
It was a hearty African American.
right. You're like, let's give it a go. African Americans.
it's a different culture. Like sometimes I'm like culturally shocked by sometimes just like the vibe, the like things that like I'm just like, wow, we're just very different. And
Yeah.
so um
A
like
diplomatic way of saying it, which is different. Yeah.
okay, that's
No.
American.
I feel like there's something specific that you're thinking of. Like when you're like, okay, all right, we're different. Like because and it's fine. This is a safe place. Americans are we know how terrible we are. We're you
Love
know,
y'all. I love y'all down. So don't make it
start with a
sound
compliment. Yep.
not we're different. That's it.
Yeah, we are pretty different.
She
We
can,
are.
you
Yeah.
I like that. I appreciate that. That y'all so diplomatic. I like that.
Place. Okay. So yeah, no, we are different. I feel like Nori said, we don't get a lot of we get more Americans. And yeah, we're more like for example, we're in South Africa, the music more so aligns with music we're used to. So like we're cool, we're vibing, whatever. But like
Oh yeah.
Americans be like, where's hip hop? Like, we're not at home.
When y'all said that y'all have majority Americans, I was like, either congratulations or I'm sorry. It could go either
Yes,
way
and.
with it. Like
Yes,
yes,
and.
yes, and yes, and. Well, let's get to South Africa because Shana did go on the trip with y'all. So, what was it like meeting Shana? Like y'all saw the bottom half of Shana off screen. Like, what type of traveler is she?
ouch.
I said oh, sorry. Go ahead. What? Go ahead.
I'm kidding.
Go ahead and start. Okay, she's still laughing. Me? Okay, cool.
Left off speechless. Yep. Okay.
Right? Wow.
Speechless.
So first thing I said to Shayna, like 'cause they got in pretty late, and the first thing I said to her when we were not first thing, but as we're sitting across from each other, I'm like, "Oh, you're taller than I thought you'd be." Like that was the
See?
first thing I
Tell people.
Chris,
I said that this year too, Neicy. I saw her
this
person.
year, when mind you, Chris knows me and we have worked together in an office together. And when we saw each other this year, which as y'all know, that was the first time in a few years that we've seen each other. And Chris looked at me and was like, "You always been this tall?"
It felt like it.
What do I give
It felt
off?
like she grew at least a little bit. so taller, Neicy taller, and
Yeah, and then personality wise, she's great. Like I really feel like she lit up the group. So like she kind of like everyone gravitated towards her, which is great. But then she was also like super adventurous as well. So like y'all said that she doesn't go outside. She said she couldn't handle the carnival trip, but Shana was outside.
Okay.
She out there shaking her leg, having a good time.
We outside,
That
like
aligns.
saw the sun rise multiple times, and
multiple
I was
times.
just like, "How did we get here? And how did I get here? How am I still outside?"
So
The
proud of
group
you.
as a whole was very good at the peer pressuring in like a respectful way, but like it was very impressive.
That's fine. You wanted to be outside. Don't play them games. Don't play
I
those.
did, but I didn't think I was going to be outside to see the sun up
Multiple times.
You know?
multiple times. I was like, I don't want to miss the things, and I figured
So
my
proud of
bedtime
you.
would have been sooner, but it wasn't.
No, you were
That's
good.
dope.
You were fun.
You want to give your thoughts on Shana? You had so much to say.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I wanted to say that Shayna was like very much so like down for whatever. Like they, like sometimes people are like daytime folks and don't want to come out at night. Like Shayna's gonna be up at 3 a.m. to do the hot air balloon. We'll stay out till 5 a.m. to do the partying and everything in between. Like you were very much so like, I'm in South Africa, I'm not missing anything. I'm eating the food, I'm seeing the people, I'm talking, I'm having a good time at everything. So like the personality was just good vibes and you were down for everything. And it wasn't like, oh, I guess I'll come. It was just like, what are we doing next? Like, so awesome. Yeah, good
Yep,
energy.
nap in between and we're back at it. Yeah.
Wonderful to hear. Shana, thank you for putting us on your back and carrying us as
Honestly.
Black Americans.
Thank you so
Honestly.
much. The African Americans.
African.
We were doing it.
Right. African Americans.
Right.
Black African Americans. You carried us. Thank you so much. You know?
We did. We was just doing my best. Was doing it
Thank
for
you
the
so
people.
much.
That's it.
Every little
That's
bit
it.
counts.
Thank you so much.
So
I appreciate that. So
really
as I was
counts.
saying, and as we were reflecting on, we did a lot. Can you take folks through the itinerary and how y'all chose what the experience would be like? Because it was a lot of days and a decent amount of people that you have to like account for with activities. So how did you go through the planning process?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that yes, there was a lot, but there was a lot of downtime that y'all decided not to use as downtime. So
I
there was
didn't
a
say.
put those in place for y'all to rest so y'all can have ease to take a nap. And on those free days, people were in the sky in hot air balloons. They were drinking wine, getting tipsies. They were
That's all of us.
no sand down. Atlantis Duns. They were seeing the
Oh, that
penguins.
was me too.
I just want to put that out there that like, yeah, we had a packed itinerary, but there was free time that y'all did not use.
It's like, just so we're clear.
He was like, I want y'all to know that in the schedule there are breaks.
Right.
Tons of days of just relax, and y'all said no. So what we did was that like the first day we just want everyone to settle in because we know it's like 18 plus hour traveling. We're going to South Africa, of course. So our first day we did nothing. We just came in, adjusted. Our second day we started bright and early, did biking. We biked through Soweto. We did a lot of learning. We wanted it to be like not only just doing touristy stuff, but also like learning and taking away more history, more knowledge of South Africa than maybe you did know coming into going on this trip. So that was Soweto biking, which was, for everybody. It was level to it,
I was like, don't do that.
Girl, just keep on going.
Look,
and
we had some cardio and we had some bonding. That's what we did.
exactly. And then we did Yowville, which is, if I'm going to be very blunt, it's the hood. But I really loved, and I think I got a lot of good feedback from Yowville. I think Neicy did as well. For the fact that like we got to really have Pan-African food, one, to support a Black business, and three, like come off of the tourist path of like only doing touristy things and going to touristy areas. We were, as I said, in the hood, and a lot of people stay away from going to very like predominantly Black areas or really like immersing themselves in Johannesburg. And I love that we did that. The food was bomb, the vibe was good, the space was great, and I think we had a really good time. And I feel like that's where we like connected the most. We did the safari, so we saw a bunch of animals. We was really, out. Um, we did a lot of nightlife, which was optional. again, you could have been sleeping and resting, and then the people who wanted to go outside was outside. Um, and then also we did London Moon, and that was a community space for queer folks, where we played games. We did a braai, which is like a barbecue,
Mhm.
cook, if you will, for the African American listening. Um,
Not gonna get
It didn't
old.
sound as fun that time around.
So
I
not to
just,
tell.
It
I
just
really just
didn't.
want
It
you
was
to,
just
I
like,
just want you to commit at this point.
yeah,
Thank
you
you so
got to
much.
commit.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
but it was
didn't feel right.
to be in a community space, to connect with community, to have fun, and yeah, to do something that you might not have been able to do maybe if you were just going without QQT. So
Mm.
that was the Johannesburg first 5 days leg of the trip.
Yeah. And then for Cape Town, when we got there, we did Bull Cap, I think, the first day.
Hmm.
Cap. So we got to learn about the history of Bull Cap, and like they have these really pretty houses. So we got to see like the colorful houses, and we had a black tour guide who we fought hard for, but we got our crown.
Nice.
Did
So yeah, we really try to support like Black owned businesses when we travel. And like though we're in South Africa and people may think it's a given, actually a lot of those businesses aren't owned by Black folks. So to find a
Mm.
Black business is great. That one, our tour guide was the woman who owns it found us a Black tour guide. So unfortunately that wasn't Black owned, but we did the wine tour, which was optional, but everyone signed up for it, which was great. And we actually had a Black sommelier, and he brought us around to three different wineries, one of which was Black owned, which was amazing. So that was great. We had a really good time there. Everyone bought alcohol specifically from there. And what else did we do? We did Table Mountain, which was dope. We did the penguins. Had to climb boulders. I don't climb.
Oh,
I'm not a climber.
okay.
it's called
I
Boulder.
don't climb.
Fighting for her
Everyone's like
life.
over the boulders. Even babies were doing it. And I was just like, why am I climbing?
Not the babies.
Like she said boulders and I didn't think.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I guess really when you say boulder, it's like a very large rock. So I probably should have known, but we were really climbing to get to these penguins. And then like I was terrified to be near them. It was a whole thing. But we did it. And then some people did the Atlantis Dunes, and that was cool. I didn't go to that, but Shayna honestly did the penguins and the Atlantis Dunes. Like they were like racing against time to meet up. So that was crazy. But yeah, and then I don't want to talk about that dinner. That dinner was traumatic. Never mind.
Okay.
We did go out
Move
to dinner.
on.
I wouldn't do that again.
Okay.
We went out to dinner. We look cute.
We went out to dinner and look cute. That's what we'll say.
What was the best thing y'all ate in South Africa? Like, what was the most memorable meal you had?
Oh my gosh, the Yalville meal. Like
Yeah.
it was all, and it was a mix of a lot of, because it's like he literally just came out and was like, plates pass. And it was fully family style.
Oh,
And
that's great.
a lot of the food that was in there, it was stuff that like some of the folks at the table were like, I'm not going to eat this because I don't normally eat this. But then it's like, we have to remember that we are from North America and they put things in our food. So you have to try it. So all of those foods were good. Could I tell you the name of anything? No.
No.
Okay. That's fine.
The drinks are
Sorry.
great, Mom.
Yeah.
Drinks were.
I had kind of thought when y'all mentioned Y'allville and it being the hood, I was like, that's probably the best place to eat because it usually works out that way. And for me as a traveler, I'll risk my life to go to good food every time. So without question, it's where I'm going. Like Martin Luther King Boulevard, I'm going. It's good.
Well,
like
listen,
I'm
when
going, for
Atlanta
sure.
actually put me in the hood in Atlanta. I was
Yeah, please.
because
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
wanna
down the
start there.
road to that fish and wing spot, and I'm every day.
Yeah.
The next 5 days.
Facts.
Yeah. And we talked about this the last time, but again, like if you mind your business, it's like it's fine. Like things happen everywhere. It's really not
Facts.
that, you know. So are there any behind the scenes stories or experiences in the South Africa trip that the travelers didn't get to see, but it was extra special to you both, like separately?
Behind the scenes.
I think we're covering everything. So that's
Yeah. And it could be just in general, y'all looking at the trip, like, you know, proud mamas like, look at this trip. It turned out so well, you know, but.
Yeah, you probably have the same one I have. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is like not even the trip itself, but like I would say that like I really enjoyed even the aftermath of like the group chat that we have. Like I think that everybody is so funny.
So funny.
And it's
Group
just like,
chat
I
unhinged.
love a good group chat. I love when it's like active. I love when it's like before the trip, during the trip, and after the trip. I love when like the group chat's not like just only important information, but when people are just like making jokes and like I just felt like the entire trip, like I would wake up and there'd just be like I'd be crying at some of the stuff that I'm waking up to or seeing in the chat. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's
I feel like a moment that we both had where we reflected and were like, this is actually really great was after the Yalville dinner. Because Nori can tell you on the way there, her Uber driver was like putting the fear of God into them. Like he was dragging Yalvin, like, I'm not dropping you off there. Like he was carrying on bad, 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 bad. And then, so it scared her. And so now she's messaging me, and I'm on the bus with everyone, just trying to stay calm. Yep, just I'll let you know as soon as we're there. I'm like, where are you? We are parked. I'm scared they're gonna like take the way man was talking and the way that he scared her, she scared me. But then by the time we got inside, like it was just vibes. Like even down to load shedding. Like load shedding happened and everyone paused for a second and they're like, wait, you guys told us about this in the meetings. We know what it is. And so just seeing all that come together, and that was the first opportunity we really got to like connect since the trip started. It was amazing.
yeah.
What's load shedding? Or yeah, if I pronounce it right. What is that?
Essentially South Africa's grid, so like the electricity
Oh,
isn't
okay.
strong enough to
I got
hold the amount of like power that's being used now. I guess just more people, more usage of it than it's willing to hold. So they will turn off certain sections of the city at certain times to be able to reserve it for everyone.
Mhm.
However, due to like racism and that kind of thing, like the hood, for example, is going to have load shedding for maybe 4 hours versus like
Mhm.
your area is going to have load shedding for 30 minutes to an hour. But it's happening throughout to not have like a citywide or a countrywide blackout.
Gotcha. Thank y'all for that. I felt
Yes.
very American for asking that. Sorry.
Oh,
You're good.
Not you apologizing.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry. I don't
You feel like I'm sorry
I
for
don't
my
know.
people.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
yeah. I was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, I think I know what it is. So got it. Thank y'all for that.
Before we move away from the itinerary, I really want to hone in on Laudemont, because that was such an intentional, amazing space. Like, first of all, range. As soon as we walk in, we're going from a library to an artist in residency to, if you look up, there's bars and they do rope play and suspension play. And they're just like, yeah, casual. And then if you go outside, there's a pool, there's a tennis court, and there's like this performing space and all of the things that happen there. But for me, that was my favorite part of the trip. I felt like it was the space where everybody just got to like chill. We were talking to so many people. How did finding that place come about and like being able to plan and actively participate, because you all led activities? So it was like, what was your hope also for the group through this event, and how did you find it?
Yeah, for sure. So with Lang de Moon, it is a queer-owned, Black-owned space in Johannesburg. I guess technically hood adjacent. I'm not sure. Like it's like one street over from like the hood, I think. But the space itself is enclosed, and like Shana said, like you can do so much in that space, but a lot of what they do are events to bring queer folks together, and usually surrounded around food because Curleen, who owns the space, is also a chef, and she's Haitian, funny enough. So like she's actually not South African, but she makes like fusion food. So it's really amazing because her sides were bomb. Like when I was eating the food, I was like, just give me more sides. But the space itself was just like it was so magical. But how we found it was that we had someone come on our summer escape trip. Her friend is so she's from South Africa. She moved to Canada. Her friends were like, "Oh, she's by herself. Like, we're gonna look for queer events." They found our event and gifted it to her. Gifted our event to her. Sorry. And so when it came down to plan for South Africa, she's like, "If you guys need help with anything, let me know." We asked for a queer space, and she's like, "Oh, I know one." Provided us with their information. They were having an event called Queernic, and they're like, yeah, you guys can definitely come through, do some games, whatever the case is. And we were able to come together in that sense. And it was amazing. Like everyone that attended was open, which is exactly what we needed. They were willing to participate. Everyone was willing to make friends. We did human bingo, which is like an amazing icebreaker, apparently, because everyone absolutely loved it. And it forced folks to talk to each other because of the questions on the card. Like some of them were so specific to South African folks, like you could not avoid speaking to a South African person. So like yeah, it was just an amazing space, and I feel like it was everything we needed it to be. But yeah, Maureen, what did you think?
You said everything was perfect.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, amazing space. And Shana was over there, wine lit and
I
wandering
don't know
around.
what you're talking about.
It was the cutest thing
I
ever.
don't
She
know
was
what you're talking about.
wandering around, having the good time. I was
Mhm. Lines up.
like, where is
Not it lines up.
Lines up. Aligned. Hmm.
Sounds about right.
I made so many
Yep.
friends. Everybody was so nice.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to everyone.
Expanding your networking network to
Yep.
South Africa.
I was sitting down on picnic blankets. I was at tables. I was out in the back. I went upstairs to the recording room. I was over here like, let's make a music. Like I was having a time. I had a time. It was great.
That is so dope. I'm glad y'all had a really good time in South Africa. Shana came back and said just the nicest things about just everything that y'all do. And y'all do an incredible amount of planning in the process. So that was awesome to hear. So getting into 2025, what trips y'all got planned? What's coming up?
Oh, we got a lot going on.
Yes,
Going on.
one that we're really excited about is we're going to Neicy's second home, South Korea.
Okay. That food.
Also going to be our first time where we have like a combined trip of like South Korea, Japan. So you could either do one or the other, or you could do both because they're back to back. So that's a trip that like limited spots doing the plug right now. Tied up, but like I'm really, really, really excited because I was very excited to bring Neicy to Thailand and Neicy's been to Thailand, but to bring QQ to Thailand. So I just know Neicy's probably super excited to bring us to.
I am practicing my annyeonghaseyo and I'm gonna be ordering food. Oh, Danya's wow, she fluent. Wow, she from here. She have Korean. No. I'm excited. I'm so hyped. Then we also have Colombia, and Colombia is amazing because it's going to be a focus on Afro-Colombian culture.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's completely like down to our tours are going to be run by Afro-Colombian folks. We're going to volunteer with the youth at the youth center. We did it last time we went. So this is our second time going to Colombia, and like the babies are just so sweet and they're so cute. So we're really excited to do that. We're going to do the Palenque tour. We're going to do dancing this time. So Afro-Colombian dance. We're going to have our photo shoot. It's going to be a time. I had an amazing time in Colombia the first time, so I'm excited to go back.
Yes. And like, maybe a little hint, little wink, but come the new year, maybe, perhaps, certain, but like maybe there would be like more trips dropped for like months that we haven't dropped trips for. So like, stay tuned for that.
Okay.
It's a casual drop. Like we're just announcing the mixtape.
While it's ready,
Right.
Y'all be ready to drop a little deposit because it's about to be lit. Because we usually end our trips in November, so that should have been the first hint that we weren't done. But just in case y'all were wondering,
Y'all better take notes on this calendar. Okay, add it to your plans. We know that Beyonce is about to announce this tour, but save the coins for the travels as well because we just yes and. So I know also not only just staying on the fact that you all announced trips throughout the year, but also I was one of the people who joined last minute because you had somebody who wasn't able to make it. And so I was able to do that because I stayed in touch and signed up for all of your things. So how can people stay in the know with what trips are coming up, if any openings happening, things like that? How do they stay in touch with y'all?
you want to sign up for our email list because I feel like it always goes out there first. That should be linked in our bio. It's one of our little like drop downs. It's like stay in touch, and you can just input your email there. Other ways you can stay in touch: turn on our post notifications. Make sure you're following us on social media at Queer Queens Travel. I think those are the main ways that you would be able to keep in touch.
And like, make sure you like something or comment because then that's how we stay to the front of your stories so that we're not at the back, so we're at the front. So you're not like, oh, I didn't see it because now we're at the top of your stories. So when we drop it, you're ready. Just trying to help.
Matters. Y'all click, like, comment, all that, reshare, share.
Yeah, sign up for waitlist, all that fun stuff.
It really does. I made it on a trip because of this. So,
and that was like the funny message we got. I think we were in Barbados when you sent it. Where were we? I can't remember where we were, but I knew I couldn't give it my full attention at that time. But yeah, you just let us know I randomly signed up for the trip. And I'm like, wow.
yeah, it was like the end of August because I was in Germany when I did it. And then I was like, this is what happens when you become a traveler. You're booking trips on
Okay,
other trips.
flex. I know. I was like, you were like, I was in Germany when I booked that one, and just okay,
I just said, well,
Greg.
yeah.
to the next one. We're ready. My vacation is in the calendar. Thank you so much.
That's smart though. Imagine relaxing and setting up your next vacation.
Okay.
Right.
That's honestly how it should work.
Let's keep it going.
I felt great about it.
That's a
I
pro
felt
tip.
great about it.
Pro tip.
Let the people know. All right. Before we shift over to our bad queer opinions, we have a bit of a surprise segment for you both.
Oh no. Oh,
It's
Jesus.
okay. It's going to be fast and furious. It's going to be fine. Look at the stress. Look at the stress that is on y'all's face, because I just want to be sure that the trust continues to grow between us. And so we decided to throw in a little bit of a surprise segment.
Y'all.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
Y'all.
Okay.
All I'm gonna say is y'all.
So,
Whoa.
so these are going to be like rapid fire, quick answers. Like the questions may not require it, but I'm gonna want you to think like quick, short answers with these things. So here's what I did. I polled the audience from our trip and asked them to send me questions to ask you all.
Oh my God.
Okay. We received almost 30 questions.
Oh no. That's not good.
About 30 questions, but a lot of them
Depending on
are
how
like
you look at it.
great, interesting, businessy things. And then, we'll throw out the mess ones, but you do not have to answer any of them, and you probably know who they came from. So
We have such trolls in our group chat. So
you
I
do.
just
Nori trolled.
You clearly do. You clearly do.
Make sure you throw all the messy ones at her. I don't have time for this. She trolled them.
It's honestly Nori's fault, but it's
because
fine.
Shana was like, hey, I dropped the questions from the travel group in there and highlighted the ones in red that are out of pocket. And I'm just thinking maybe it's like off topic or whatever. When I tell you, I was like, oh my God, did you set any guardrails? Like, what did you ask them?
The most general question. So the question prompt was, what do you want to know from Neicy and Noiry?
No, that's a lot.
And that's it. And that's what I left it as. I was like, we're having them on the podcast. What are some questions you would want to ask them? That was all I said. And y'all know with this group that it was arranged. So we're only going to get through like two or three. And then, maybe you all can follow up and do like a live or something and answer the rest. Who knows?
I know,
so
because
that's where we are.
After dark.
Chris, which one do you start with?
After dark is great.
Some of them after dark for sure. And some of them very specific. I was like, oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Where do you want to start, Chris?
Let's see. Oh, listen,
Chris choose?
there's
Oh my
a
God,
lot.
I'm scared.
I'm just going to choose one that's
choose
really, really tame. Your travel company has had a significant influence on the LGBTQ plus community. How do you feel about the impact you've made?
Oh, that's safe. I love that.
See? Gentle questions.
Honored. Honestly honored. Like it's been amazing to see, like when we even go to spaces where we're not like going for any particular reason. Like we were in Atlanta for Neicy's birthday and people coming up to us and being like, oh my gosh, like I really want to come on your trip in the future. You guys like I'm so happy you guys are creating this space, that continue creating this space. Like that kind of stuff makes us feel like, all right, cool. Like what we're doing, and like is we need to keep doing what we're doing.
I was lit as hell when she said that too. She's like, I follow you guys on Instagram. I'm gonna come on the trip now. I was like, Nori, help. Girl, I'm not gonna lie to you, but thank you so much. You're amazing. I love that. But that's it. Yeah, I agree. Just like honored, honestly, and just happy and excited to have everyone join us. So make sure y'all sign up for a trip.
Yeah, plug. Yeah. Period.
Okay, I'm going to throw another one as well. So thinking of like the future of QQT, would you all like to expand to hire others to do trips in addition to yourselves so that you're doing more trips?
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about that. Obviously, we'd have to choose very, very wisely, but like we would love to do that just to also extend the opportunity to other queer women of color to travel more, because maybe they don't travel as much. Like I wouldn't say the criteria would be like you have to travel to like 10 countries. It'd be kind of like, your personality is good, you're able to like really mesh with the group, all that fun stuff. So like, yeah, would love to provide the opportunity to other queer women of color.
We've spoken about that a lot.
Shana, you feel good about the questions asked?
Did you want to throw in one of the red card ones? Just so they can hear it. Y'all don't have to answer it. You could just.
Yeah, I could do the most tame one that's here. Yeah. Let's do that. It's fun. This
The most
one's
tame
fun.
of the red ones.
Yeah. How do you navigate when on a trip and someone sees something they like?
Like the guests see something else from another guest?
Yeah, like they see
Okay,
somebody
cool.
they like and it's on the trip. There's no other context given. I would imagine it's like, what do you think, Shana? Somebody
Yeah.
single
I was
that
like,
sees
also
somebody they
probably
like?
like, since y'all are out and in a group of queer people partying, doing this stuff, probably like what boundaries do y'all have to set as well?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we definitely try to have a conversation at the beginning of our trips to be like, consent is important. And that like at the end of the day, you guys are adults and that like, people who are, vibing with each other, they're gonna vibe. And it happens on some of our trips, not all trips. Sometimes we have friendly bro trips and everybody's just and that's what it is. And then other times people, might see somebody
It's
you
on
like.
the
See
Jordan in the
some?
middle of the
Find
night.
some.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe it's on.
As long
All
as there's
right.
and there's like, you're especially when it comes to like also like room situations and all that stuff, like just be adults, be fair. I don't know if that made sense. But yeah.
No, that makes sense. I
It
mean, you
makes
can only
sense
do so
because some
much.
people are
Like it's
sharing
just
rooms, so it's also
set the
like you
Like
guide.
gotta.
this is gonna be no, find another room, honey.
Yeah, find another room. That's one thing that like we've encountered a couple times where folks like don't realize like they're sharing a room. So like take this somewhere else. You can't be in the room trying to get it on, baby. You gotta
Yeah,
keep it pushing. And also
very
we
least.
open door policy. So like if at any point someone feels uncomfortable with like the advances of someone else, if they don't want to do it, we will. Like we will shut it down for them. So yeah.
100%.
Okay, I like that. Hey,
So yeah,
Shana.
adults.
We adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Well, obviously there are plenty others, but we'll keep it at that because we want to get to our
Lot.
bad queer opinions. What type of bad queers would we be if we didn't have unpopular queer opinions? You all know how this section goes. Kris and I will go first. You all will go next. Feel free to comment, ask questions, do the things. But I will go ahead and get started because we did finish the year out in the age of Wicked. And as hard of a time as I give Kris for not liking musicals, she has been watching some, and I'm so proud of her. But I will say that if Wicked has shown us anything, it will show that musical theater is not a universal queer rite of passage. It's a popular one, but it's not one that everybody gets to experience and or wants to experience. But I do still think it's important for us to engage with. Kris, fix your face. It's one of the few stage forms that features us as our people. Yes, there are a lot of stage plays that are deeply racist and problematic, but for a lot of the more Today shows and things like that share stories, I still think that musicals are important, but you should not shade anybody who did not have their musical theater moment growing up.
Okay. I don't know who that was. Was that to? Are you saying that to
I was just
yourself?
stating
Like
that in
reflecting?
general.
Okay, just don't be shaming nobody.
No, that's why I'm
25
saying
and
that was
beyond.
what my
Okay,
whole
I
bad
just
queer
want to make
opinion
sure
was
because
no
it was like
shaming.
you were on track, and then you were like, "But," and
I
then
just want to
that's
be sure
like
that people
one of
don't
those apologies.
don't like
One of
sit
those
there and soundbite
apologies.
that to say
Yeah.
that means don't watch musicals
But
because that's not what that is.
it's like I'm sorry, but so that's
Yeah,
what it
like,
felt like.
me
Like I
and
was
Nori,
with you.
we mess with musicals, so it's definitely this is for Kris.
It
Oh,
is. Listen,
I can pick it from top to bottom if you want me to right now.
We're good. We're good. We're good. We'll
Soundtrack
take
back to
we'll
back. So
take that on
right,
the face. I was like, the way that I send Nori so many of the wicked things that I come across, like, yes.
And I have so much to say. Like, I'm just like, I'm not even just like, LOL. I'm just like, oh my God. And she could have.
And it's all of this. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Kris, what you got?
yeah. Still confused as to was that for
General,
you or
the listeners,
okay.
the people.
All right.
Somebody
Well,
felt seen by that statement. Thank you so much.
my bad queer opinion, it's more of a community question. Are queer folks trending towards more kindness with one another, or are we like trending towards like a more polished version of toxicity? Like, what direction are we headed? Are we truly more supportive, or are we getting meaner? Just wanted to do a temperature check. What did y'all think on that? Where is our community trending towards?
I just need more context.
I think that queer people could be really hard on each other And in the past, I would say that we were meaner. I think we're trending towards being more supportive, but I don't know if everybody experiences that. So that's what I'm asking, just in general. Are we being more empathetic, more supportive? Or is it just a polished version of being an asshole to each other?
Mm. I feel like there's a level of honesty that we are moving to, because before I don't think we were really calling out like the white gays a lot and holding them accountable. It was like they were the standard. And now I think there is more recognition in the result of the fact that we've had more education. So a lot of people are learning that like Black queer folks and Black trans women were the folks who actually started a lot of the things historically that have allowed us to get to the space that we are now. I think in more spaces, depending, people are being a bit more accepting and are giving more range, but I do still think that there is a group that is still stuck in their ways. There's the children who are coming up, but I've still been able to observe the children still just like cut each other up. So I think we're being a bit more honest, but I don't know if we're being a bit more open or kind. So I might be leaning towards like the toxicity.
It's been a little polished up.
Mm.
But, yeah, okay.
It's like we brought it to corporate. We made it look professional.
That's what it is. Wait, yeah, it's like the corporate strongly worded emails per my last email. Yeah. What do y'all think?
Like, I feel like the younger queer folks are more open and they're not staying with like within certain boxes. So I feel like they're more open in the sense of letting people just kind of be who they are. I feel like the older queer folks, I don't know, man. They be saying some things. And I'm like, y'all
down.
Here.
Y'all are hurt, okay? Hurt and projecting.
Yeah, they're like, back in my day, and you see that's
please.
back in the day. This is why we're not. But yeah, I feel like they're more open. I feel like even on our trips, we see more like with more mass presenting folks, like there's like this like friendliness, like more openness. So I feel like folks are kind of leaning in that direction slowly but surely.
Okay. It's helpful. Noiry, any thoughts?
I think that like people are also just like educating themselves on the like diversity of our community. And so I feel like some ignorance came from like lack of knowing. And I think that there is a little bit more of being like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know better, and now I know better, so I do better.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people are stuck in their ways.
They are.
It's factual.
Their t-shirts down to their ankles and stuck in their ways.
Ashy ankles too.
Thank y'all.
All right, Neicy, what is your bad queer opinion?
Okay, wow. I feel like y'all were like so insightful, and mine's just gonna be like, so my bad queer opinion is that we need to normalize setting boundaries with our exes and like toxic exes as well. And like when I say that, it's more so I feel like in the community, people have a tendency to either immediately befriend their exes, and it's just like, we didn't even talk about this, we didn't decompress from this, we didn't reflect, we didn't do anything, we didn't do any type of work, we just kind of jumped right back into it like we never left. And it's like at times, like we do need to set those boundaries to protect ourselves. Like I remember my most recent breakup, like there was like a day and a half where I didn't feel the need to block her, but she had done terrible things to me. So it was like, therapist was like, actually creating boundaries in space is a great way to like create that distance that you need, because she was still sending me reels. So it's like, just like being in, honestly, it was
like,
a little, I was like, are you good?
She's like, last one.
You're like, wait, this is really important.
Right.
I'm like, not sending you random reels, but like just that, like I almost didn't set that boundary, but I realized in our community, it's like people have a tendency to just like befriend their exes, and it's like sometimes that's okay, but I also just feel like take a beat. Like at what point do you do that to just like kind of reflect on the relationship and like decompress from it
and heal? Got to take
the healing.
Yeah, that's a good shot. That is very true. Just a little buffer. Something.
I like that.
Noiry, what's your bad queer opinion? I'm so excited for this.
I'm just gonna say that mass presenting folks or studs do not travel enough. And I think that like it's always, if I do see a lot of mass presenting people traveling, it's always with their partner who has like to them. And it's like, leave your house and let's go further than Mexico. Like, let's
Mhm.
try something
Wow, what a shot.
It's always
not
Mexico. It's always fucking Mexico.
It's so great. It's so fun.
options out here. Like, let's do that. It's like, what is that
Mm.
about? Like,
Mm.
Mexico
I mean,
does
I
have a
love
chokehold on studs.
it's very fun.
Just want it to be known.
I don't know. This might be American perspective. We just have an affinity for Mexico. I've had some of my best travel times in Mexico. One of the best DJs ever was on this Cabo booze cruise boat that we almost got left, and it turned into just the wildest. I still have videos that me and my friends look at. But I do think we got to expand and solo travel more. It is more of a couple thing that a lot of studs and masks folks do. They're traveling with, so
Mhm.
that's a good shot. I could see that, Nori.
like our
Um,
trip, 16 people on the trip.
5, 4, 4.5, 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a lot of us are broke from films. Oh.
Kris, could you elaborate on the things that they might be broken?
I think they're tricking in the wrong areas. So it might be like you need to withhold some funds so you could take your ass on a trip by yourself. Okay. So
Travel if
yeah.
you don't know how to plan the trip because you're just like, oh my gosh, if not Mexico, where? I don't know. Slide over to QQT.
www.queerqueenstravel.com.
Come on with a plug. Come on
Yeah.
with a plug.
Yeah.
At
I
Queer
do
Queens
think that
Travel on
this
all platforms.
I do think that this is a very effective commercial that y'all should shoot this year that is targeted right at masks and studs. Like,
With,
just
like,
stop
dreamy
going to
music in the back.
Mexico. You know? So
Like red text.
yeah.
I love this.
Coincidentally, Trump is trying to pitch y'all Canada versus Mexico, and I feel like y'all are picking up on that energy. So I just, maybe I'm reading into it, but
I'm
Here
screaming.
we go.
yeah.
I'm
All
screaming.
good though.
And
That's funny.
on that note, we're going to wrap up the show, but we would never leave you without giving shout outs to our faves. My shout out this week goes to the Black Queer Joy Instagram page, founded and curated by Dalila Ali Rajah. The Black Queer Joy page reminds us that we are revolutionaries and that unapologetic joy is the revolution. So you can follow, find some joy, liven up your timeline at Black Queer Joy on IG.
All right. My shout out, excuse me, is to Antique Black Things, which they aim to preserve and share vintage Black memorabilia, art, dolls, and artifacts to highlight the history and experiences of Black people in America. Follow them on IG at antique_black_things.
All right. Nori, who's your shout out for?
I'm just as unprepared as you are.
I'm so unprepared. So my black shout out is Queer Queens Travel,
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
supporting core women of color's goals, dreams, and ambitions to travel the world in group format. I will be better prepared next time, I promise.
No, shout y'all out. Y'all can shout out specific shout outs is to anything, So yes, yeah.
Oh, do I have to do a shout out? I'll give y'all a shout
Yeah.
out. Black Queers Podcast for having us again. And also like telling everybody about us, coming on the trip, supporting the mandem. It's actually like great. And it's amazing. It was amazing getting to know Shana and chatting with you again, Kris.
Yeah. Thank y'all for coming back on. We were like, we should start the year off with a travel episode. This is, a lot of people are booking their
right.
trips and looking to see when is the next time they're going to take off after the holiday hangover that we all have. Like, when is my next trip? So thank y'all. And yeah, love having y'all on. Obviously, you have to come back.
Always a good time.
Yes.
Always a good time.
All right.
And
One
we'll
more
send you
time.
those questions.
Where can people find you and support you and make sure that they go on these trips?
You can find us on all platforms at Queer Queens Travel. And if you want to check out our trips, www.queerqueenstravel.com.
On that note, y'all, again, thank you both for coming back onto the podcast. We love having you. And for everybody else who tuned in, thank you so much. Let's start this year off better than the last 5.
We could hope.
And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
It's me again. Can we talk about things? I'm sorry that I'm gone.